But the history of America's relationship with people of Asian descent is a troubled one. For much of our past, we have tended to look upon Asians with a mixture of contempt and fear. Asians were symbols of evil, robot-like masses. Time and again, restrictive legislation aimed at Asians has been enacted into law. In 1882, all immigration from China was banned. In 1924, the same law was applied to Japan. The California state constitution for years denied suffrage to, quote, idiots, insane people, and Chinese. Long years of racial hatred and intolerance came to a peak in 1941.
The mad Japanese dog strikes in the Pacific, and Washington State Department gives the incredible news to reporters who had been awaiting news of peace negotiations with the sly, war-crazed Japs. Emperor Hirohito leads the LYBs, the little yellow bellies who claim the rising sun for their own.
For Westerners, the first year of the war with Japan proved incomprehensible, as Singapore, the Philippines, and most of Asia fell to Japan. The West was losing a war to an Asian nation. The reaction at home was swift and brutal. In the United States and Canada, more than 110,000 Americans of Japanese ancestry were rounded up and interned in camps in the desert. Although they were American citizens, they were in some ways punished for the success their Asian brethren were having in the war.
The Japanese are not easy to know. I've lived among them for 10 years, and I can testify that they are as different from ourselves as any people on this planet. The real difference is in their minds.
By 1942, Hollywood filmmakers, including such people as Frank Capra, had begun producing propaganda films to explain the Japanese to the American public.
Behind the fighting forces stand all the wealth and power and resources of a people whose national dream is to see Tokyo established as the capital of the world.
And often to rationalize how an Asian nation could possibly defeat Western armies.
Never an inventive or creative people, the Japanese have always depended on the scientific and industrial knowledge of the Western world.
Today, instead of a military threat, many